welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna try to make another live craft with me because I know a lot of you got time and nothing else. So this is a requested video from Jen over on Instagram, who had bunny molds. I have bunny molds. I am not molding anything with them. They do have, let me tear it apart really quickly. They do have faces inside that you could mold something into them, but we're gonna do 2 different DIYs with them, and hopefully it'll work that I can do it in the time that we're here. Otherwise I'll fast forward and edit, but let's go. So for the first thing, we're just gonna grab our pot. See that this pot works really well. I have this bunny. Yeah, this pot works really well. Let's throw this bunny together real quick and show you the sizing. This pot is going to just fit perfectly with this bunny. This is going to be a miniature recreation of Sarah Jane from Chic On The Cheap's beautiful bunny topiary that she invented. I know many have done, but they've just been mere copies. You can weight this if you want to. If it's going to go outside, I recommend it. Otherwise, we're just gonna seal it up. You can also add glue to this, but because we're gonna cover it in moss, and it's gonna have a ton of glue on it, I'm not worried about it. Hold on, it's just not. It's from the Dollar Tree. Take a minute to put it together. And I'm not trying to complain about Dollar Tree, but sometimes, you know, stuff doesn't really line up. Oh, I still have it. Okay, not really sure how that happened. Something just fell over when there's absolutely nobody in the room. Okay, here we go. I didn't realize there was tape down there too, so take off all your tape before you try to seal your bunny up. There we go. There we go. And he just snaps together. Now, she created this. If you don't know, I will link that video in the description box down below. She created this bunny with like 2 bowls. I have to stop talking while I do this. She created her original topiary with 2 bowls, 2 large bowls for the base, 2 medium-sized bowls for the head, or the base is the body, I'm sorry. 2 medium-sized bowls for the head, and bunny ears from a plastic. Does everybody have these problems putting this thing together? Or is it just mine? Is mine defective? This is the first year I was able to find these. Oh my goodness. He really doesn't want to stay together. And he's supposed to be a mold, so, you know, you're like, is my Jello pouring all over the place, or what is happening? Okay. Yeah, he doesn't quite fit 100%, but that's okay. We're going to take his stickers and we're going to go over the seams this way. We try to keep him together the best we can. Okay, and don't worry about the stickers because we're going to get covered, as you know. Let's put that piece of tape at the top and hold this head together. And if they don't fit perfectly, it's okay because we're going to cover the whole thing in moss. Now, on that video, no, I just want to show you, so he's like the perfect size for this. We will be putting whatever you want in here. He's not heavy. If you're going to keep it in your house, you could do whatever you want. You can do tissue, old newspaper, old shopping bags. If you're going to put it outside, I would weight it down with rocks or cat litter. Cat litter is my favorite. It's the cheapest heavy material at the Dollar Tree. You can get like 2 pounds of cat litter for $1, and it weights down perfectly. Also, it's malleable, so if you're putting like a topiary in there, it'll hold, like, you know what I mean? You could squish stuff down there. Or you could just do foam, and then we'll do a Spanish moss on top when we're all done. So let me move him off to the side. Let me get my handy dandy craft mats. So on that video, or one of her videos, she taught us about cutting up your moss, and she likes to pre-cut up her moss and put it in a box or something. Well, I've gone a step further And I have bought a shoe box from the Dollar Tree to just keep all my moss in. And what I like to do about this is sometimes you can find floral moss, sometimes you can find reindeer moss, sometimes you find, there's another name. I feel like, not the Spanish moss, but I feel like the green comes in another name. But sometimes it's floral moss, whatever. And they're different shades of green and different textures. So I like to put them all in here and blend them together so that at least if I get, you know, I don't have to waste some just because this one looks different. So what you do is you just put it in your bucket. You take some scissors, you hack at it. There is a benefit to doing with big pieces, but it just takes a little bit more work. The big pieces will keep your hands from burning as easily. The little pieces, you know, they sprinkle on. In a previous video, we talked about farmhouse glitter. Okay, is my glue gun ready? So this project, you'll also need a ton of hot glue. So one technique is to put a bunch on there, stick the bunny in there and go like that. You can see how well that works, right? So then get off the most at the time and then just go to town. I'm gonna take out some glue sticks, have them at the ready. If you're doing this with me and you have any suggestions of how you like to do it differently, just let me know in the comments if you want. I'm always up for suggestions. You know, what makes you a professional crafter is if you sell your crafts. You know that? What makes you a professional? You do it for a living. Not that amateur crafters who do that just for fun aren't professional, but I was gonna say, even though I fall under that category, I'm not a professional crafter. I don't know it all. I've done a lot of crafting in my life, and I've taught some crafting in my life, so I just thought I would bring them both together here for you and do that for you. So this is gonna go fairly simple, but it is one of these things that if you're not talking to your friends on YouTube, then you might wanna put a TV show on or a movie. It doesn't take that long because this bunny's kind of tiny. And if you watch her video, or if you have watched her video, she does one like this, and then no, she does a pair like this. And then in the winter time, she took that same sort of idea and she made snowmen, and she made them out of like coffee filters, which I thought was so fun. But there is no rule that says you can't make a white bunny out of coffee filters. If you use the ears and everything, that would be super cute. That would be super cute. So it looks like a hot mess now, and I know that I've done this on videos countless times before, and it does usually look like a hot mess in the meantime. But we're gonna trim it. We're gonna give it a little haircut. As you know, I like to squeeze it down. I like to put on extra and squeeze it down. This way I can get my hand in there and not have to worry about burning myself. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our, well, that one's kind of big today. Usually I use that big scissor to cut up the moss, but it's a little large for this particular project. And then you'll see the bunny's ears start to take shape back up again. First you cut glue string. I like my Gorilla Hot Glue gun with Gorilla Hot Glue sticks, but I like it because it's dual temp. But whenever you do it on low temp, which is good, you won't burn your hands as easily, but whenever you do it on low temp, it does create a little bit more strings, I noticed. Okay. I want them to have a little bit more bunny shaped ear. Bunny ear shaped. Yeah, sure. I'll just make up my own words. No big deal. Okay. So you see that we're starting to reveal places where the glue didn't hold, which is fine. That's exactly what we want to do. And then I like to give it a good tap and a good shake. And then you can go back and you can fill in your holidays, as my dad used to call them. So I like to go back with the little bits that I cut off, fill in the holidays. Oop, I did get glue up there. I didn't think anything came out of the gun. So this project does take a lot of hot glue. And it's funny because I was kind of talking about it in a video yesterday. that I really hope people don't run out of hot glue. You know, there's one thing about staying inside and crafting. As long as you don't run out of hot glue. Okay. I will not run out of hot glue. I might run out of Gorilla hot glue sticks, but I have a ton of AdTech hot glue sticks that were gifted to me by a lovely subscriber. So this is going to be on high speed for a little while because it's just me cutting up moss, but I figured I'd take this time to say that we're going to do both bunnies. We're going to do another one tomorrow. The same type of video, but it's going to be a little bit different. I think I mentioned it during the DIY that, or I will mention it during the DIY that this is 100% inspired by Sarah Jane from Chic On The Cheap. She is my best YouTube friend, and she made these gorgeous bunnies I think it was last Easter, could be the Easter before. But she came up with this amazing design, you know, just like off the top of her head. And when I saw these bunnies, I was like, I knew I wanted to make a miniature version, but I couldn't get a hold of them last year. So when I found them this year, I was super excited. I knew what I wanted to do with this one, and I knew what I wanted to do with the other one. But then I was kind of like, should I get 4 and make 2 like this and 2 like the other ones? But no, we're just going to do 1. Now, the pot that I got is from the Dollar Tree, but I did get it at the Dollar Tree quite a few years ago, probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years ago. So if you have trouble finding that one, I understand, but there are different pots every year that come out with the same sort of size, so that you just need a pot that's going to be as big or just as little, you know, just about the same size as the butt of the bunny. Now, that was another thing I was considering, giving this guy a little tail. I was just going to give him a little Spanish moss tail to match his little Spanish moss belly. One of my tips that I've used for a long time is flexible cutting mats. They're not perfect by any stretch of imagination. You still have all this debris, all of this farmhouse glitter, but they make it a heck of a lot easier. First of all, the glue doesn't stick to them most of the time if you get it off right away. Okay. Which I wish I could say the same thing from a scissor. Okay, so I did show you the ears trimmed at first, but it is always best for me to finish at least a huge area. So let's trim the face, do the head, trim the head. Then I work on the body. Now, trimming does a couple of things. Oh, look, an earpiece fell off. Trimming does a couple of things. Not only does it reintroduce the shape of the object a little bit better, but it saves you a lot of moss. And if you're planning on putting this anywhere like outside, you really have to have each piece of moss glued down, because as we found out from our Easter topiary last year, that just had Spanish moss down underneath the eggs. The birds will use it for nesting material. Which, hey, I'm fine with that. I love my little bird friends. So, but if you want to keep your topiary intact, you definitely want to take that into consideration. Okay, so that was not very successful in the back. I think because we had a lot of trouble with the glue. We were having a lot of glue issues at the moment. So let's gather up all of the pieces, the debris. Okay. And let's try this one again. Wow, that really didn't do well at all. Maybe I just took too big of a sections. You guys know I'm not supposed to do that, right? You know you're not supposed to take too big sections, especially when you use your low temp glue gun, because then it dries way before you can get your stuff on there. So now when I'm filling in the holes, I like to use like the shreds, and I don't have to trim it as much after it's already been filled in. I'm going to tack that ear again. Oh, no, I'm Okay. Let's see. Now, if you get a green bunny or even the yellow bunny, probably, you might not notice as much of the plastic come through if it's sort of like a background color. But I think the blue does pretty good. I think the blue does pretty good. So that's when I like to save all my little sprinkles for filling in. And push it down really well. And then shake off whatever doesn't stick. I don't like to usually shake it that early because then the glue is not actually set up yet. And I'll take hot glue and wet moss, or wet glue and hot moss. Right off. Got a tiny bit there. Let's see. Yeah, see, that's what I was mentioning the other day. I'm not worried so much about burning my fingers, which is a concern, but I'm worried about the thing sticking to my hands. So you can see with just a little bit of extra effort, we were able to cover his face pretty good. Just a little bit extra effort. Now, we didn't mold his face because I don't care. I'm going to do a little bit of, he's going to have a flower nose just to make it a little different, but I don't know. I haven't decided. I made a moss bunny. I took the one that was wrapped originally in like the glinstery, you know, the glinstery garland. The glinstery? What? The glittery garland. Glistening is what I was going to say, but that's not even what I wanted to say. Now we'll start around the side of his face. Just filling in on the holidays. It is the best way, I find the best way to do it. I feel like, I think that it might seem like more work to some, but for me it's like a little safer. Maybe I'm a chicken. Maybe I'm a... And I just don't, you know, being a type 2 diabetic, I have to watch out for my extremities and the neuropathy that comes along with them. And burning my fingertips is something that I could do easily because I don't always feel, I don't really quite have asbestos fingers like my dad and my grandpa. My dad used to say my grandfather flipped fried fish in the fryer at the restaurant. You know, he'd poke it down on one side and flip it with his fingers. Because I used to say to my dad, you have asbestos fingers. And he's like, that's nothing compared to my dad. And I was like, oh. My dad knew his dad had a lot of like little issues, but he really did value their time together. He really said, when I was 17, I knew my father didn't know anything. And when I turned 18, I can't believe how much he learned in a year. Which was his nice way of saying, like, when you're a teenager, you don't listen to your parents. But when you get to be an adult and you realize your parents were trying to teach you stuff the whole time. The ways of life. The ways of life. Sorry, I tapped a little bit harder and exposed an open face part. Okay, that's better. Okay, we have a holiday back here. And so of course you could do this with any shape. You can make the eggs, you know, Dollar Tree sells eggs, and that was one of the things we were going to do Last year, we had made an egg topiary with flowers. I like a little one with a foam egg that I had gotten at Michael's, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. It was a long time ago. I was in a group called Homemakers of America, and we made these cute little penguins with foam eggs that we got at Michael's. And that was, I joined that in 2002, maybe 2000 and, yeah, maybe 2002. It was there, then I realized that not all crafters have the same skill. And that's not a negative thing. That's just try to do something that, or try to teach in a way that everybody can learn, and try to do something for everybody. Find everybody's skill set. And find everybody's skill set and go with their strengths is really what it was. I tried to teach painting, like a artistic painting, and I tried to do like, well, not tried to. Some people learned it. I was gonna say, I thought it was so easy to do like my instructions, and then I realized that not everybody has the same skill. So, all right. So now we have this part done. Oh, look, a plastic thing. So now we have the head done. It looks pretty good. There's a couple of spots at the tops of the ear here. I should just leave it to the very end, because the very end I like to go back and do like a really quick touch-up sesh. Find all the little holidays once we give it a good shake off, you know. Okay. All right. Okay. Actually, I just exposed a big piece of his face, but you can't really see it. You can't really see that piece in his face, can you? Oh, the camera moved. Oh, poop. How long ago did that happen? Sorry, guys. Hopefully you got what I was doing. Okay. You can't really see that. When I hit it like this, I can see the shine, but you really can't tell that that's face coming through. So maybe blue was a good choice. All right, and now we're just going to head off to his body. I'm going to remember not to do such big sections. But I do want to start with this that goes over the sticker. I want to make sure we get that down. Try not to press too hard so you don't crack your bad boy open again, which I just did. But live and learn. Actually, it's not just live and learn. It's I do it. I live so you can learn. It's called an Easter container, if you're interested. So I just got over the sticker. I never noticed the sticker, what it said. Easter container. I was going to cover this whole seam with duct tape. Then I was like, the stickers are here. It'll hold it together. But maybe if you have duct tape. I know everybody's going to have the stickers if you have this plastic mold. Actually, I shouldn't say that. People might have already gotten rid of their stickers. He's coming along. it's time for our occasional cleanup. I find it easier to do it this way. And I know it sounds silly to be cleaning up in the middle of your craft project, but it really feels to me like it's a little easier than waiting until the very end, because I feel, because of glue strings. I know that sounds dumb, but there's so many on this particular project, because you're constantly going quickly to and back and forth from your project with the glue gun. So ooh, I found a good piece. So I like these pieces. So this is like stuck together really well, because it helps to, I can use it like a press. That doesn't make sense. I can use it to help press on the other pieces. So here, let me show you what I mean. So I can throw the pieces on there, the little light pieces, and I can use this to press. And it sort of works like a protection between me and the project. Now, if you are new to my channel and this is your first video, I used to use a double-ended Betty Crocker spatula from the Dollar Tree. Some people use the hot fingers. Some people use gloves or different devices to push moss down into glue or protect their hands. But I think mine got thrown in the garbage. So it's on my list for the next time I go to the Dollar Tree for non-essential shopping when all of this crisis is over. I'm filming this during the crisis. I was just about rounding out to the belly part when I realized that it would look super cute if his belly was a different color. So also the inside of his ears. His tail as Spanish moss would be cute. The inside of his ears would be cute as well, just to keep that cohesive look. Now, I am not going to waste money and time doing the bottom, because he's going to sit in a planter. Plus, he won't stay glued in the planter. If you cover him in moss, he would probably just have a better chance that his moss would come off, and he would be out there for the world to see, if that makes any sense to you. Because it makes sense to me. I made it right. Now, this would also look really cute if you made it into a topiary with a stick up his butt. This plastic is really easy to cut. It actually cuts a little too easy, so be careful if you wanted to get a broom handle or a mop handle, plunger handle, anything like that. He would look really cute if he was raised up off of the flower pot. Not for the purposes that I want him on my fireplace, but he definitely would look cute that way. And if that's the case, then you definitely want to glue the stick in before you add your moss so that you can cover it up. Also, if you're going to dye your stick, branch, whatever you're going to use, then you want to do that before you glue it in as well. If you do recreate this project, I'd love to see what you do. I love to see what everybody creates. If you want to share it with me on social media, I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. I'm on Twitter, and I have all the other ones, but I don't really go to them as often. Now, if you would like me to share it, or if you allow me to share it with others, please just let me know when you send me the picture if it's shareable, because then I will definitely give you a shout out on my socials. All of the links to all of my social medias are in the description box down below. Actually, my Pinterest isn't, but my Pinterest is just my name. You can find it there. Now, I did run out of Gorilla Glue hot glue sticks, which is fine. I have plenty of the other ones. But that to me doesn't make a difference with this plastic. However, if you do have this in extreme cold temperatures, sometimes with plastic it'll shrink and it may not take the glue with it. So be mindful of that. If you have it someplace super cold, that you might lose some of your moss. Now I feel like leaving all the cleaning in here seems kind of redundant, but I do want to show you how often I do it with when doing a moss project. It really does help wrangle it if I clean along the way. If I waited till the very end, you won't believe it. There's moss just everywhere. And like 2 months later, you go to move a spool of ribbon and there's moss back there. And you're like, how did that happen? When did that happen? But I really love Sarah Jane, and this tip about this keeping her moss cut up in this box has been a game changer for me. It really has. In the past, it was scoop it back into a Ziploc bag and dump it out on the table and then scoop it back into a Ziploc bag. And I don't know why in 40 years of crafting that I never thought about something like this. And it's not just with Spanish moss. You can have a tub for glitter. You can have a tub for sand. I mean, really, the possibilities are endless. But definitely for your moss, too. Now, if I had more Spanish moss, or if I used Spanish moss more, I'd probably have one for that as well. But I don't, so I don't. Okay, so now we're going to really shake them off good. Really good. Okay, and now we're going to clean this up for a second. And I know what you're thinking, Jerry, you're not done. You left his belly. Well, we don't want to cross-contaminate how our moss is. So let me get this off of here. Put this away for a second. Now, another thing, if you're new here, then as you saw in the beginning, I use flexible cutting mats from the Dollar Tree. You get 2 for $1. I use them for painting, gluing, moss, beads, anything I need to pick up easy. I do use them for glitter, as a matter of fact, as well. I'm going to take a bit of Spanish moss. And the Spanish moss doesn't work the exact same. It does usually have a lot of twigs. But we're going to treat it the same. We're going to cut it up little. Just going to get a little, you know what? Yeah, we got to cut it up. We can always just trim it. Let's just trim it. Let's get all the twigs out. Which is one of the things we love about Spanish moss. It's so twiggy. Okay, and now we're going to do a high temp so the glue stays warm longer. I'm going to clean the glue gun. How do you clean the glue gun? Take a really thick amount of paper, tissue or napkin, paper towel, any of that stuff. And while your glue gun's hot, you just wipe it off. Okay, now we operate. It's definitely not going to be a neat situation. I thought it'd be cute. Ow, 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 that hurt. Because I didn't think I put glue down there. Okay, there we go. It's definitely not going to be a neat situation, but we will fix it, don't worry. my hands. Like I said, we're going to trim, and then we'll fill it in like we did with the previous moss. Go around his little hands. Let's get the rest of his belly. Get in my belly. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Let's give that a second. Let's load up another glue stick while we're waiting. I'll start at the top. I might even have to get out my little scissors for this. Now, when you use somebody's DIY as an inspiration, you can't just copy it. You can do like, you know, well, not when, I mean, when you're another YouTuber. You can do like making Chic on the Cheap's Topiary. And if I wanted to just do it like exact copy, you know, I could, as long as you give credit. I feel anyway, as long as you give credit where it is due, which doesn't always happen in this community, in this industry. I think the worst part is, and there's times where I've forgotten to say it, but people in the comments will be like, you're a genius, or that's a great idea, and I'll be like, not my idea, got it from Pinterest, sorry to mention in the video. And then if that's the case, usually I go up to the comments and I'll say like Pinterest inspired, or I might change the title of the video to be like Pinterest inspired. Oh look, a piece of pine. See that? It's like a pine sprig. Jerry, all we see is glue fingers. Can you do me a favor? And not right now? Okay. Okay, let's see. So I am going to try to trim around these hands really well, because the hands are sort of on a different elevation than the belly. The belly was set in, so I want to try to get a really good definition between the two mosses, which is going to be a little hard because the Spanish moss is a little burlier, but we're going to do everything we can to ensure that that's the case. Yeah, I think I have to take out the little scissors because this is not, I'm not getting in the angles here. It seems that I banged much harder this time than I did previously. Okay. I exposed some blue. Okay. So what I'm going to do really quick, and I know this is going to sound odd that I'm doing it right now, but because I have all this Spanish moss out, what I want to do is not waste it. You know I don't like wasting, right? I'm probably going to need the other bag because there's only a little bit left in here. I'm going to take this, and I have this bag of newspaper. We don't really read the newspaper here. Nobody really reads the newspaper here. But we do get stuff at the Dollar Tree wrapped in newspaper. newspaper down in there. Like I said, you could weight it. You could do foam blocks, whatever you want, really. Okay. I think this top piece we're gonna ball up. I'm gonna surround this piece with this piece and make it nice. There we go. Just hit it with a couple of spots. You don't have to hold it in there permanently. You just want to hang it in there for a little bit. Okay. And then the reason I wanted to do that now is because I wanted to be able to get this in there. I think if this guy's going to sit here, then we'll just put it all around him. How's that sound? Yeah, throw the twigs in there, of course. Now, if you put this on, I told you before, if you put this on your porch, there's a good chance the birds might take it. The birds take all the Spanish moss. That's okay, though. I don't mind. It's the least I can do. The very, very least I can give our birds that give me hours of pleasure. Of bird watching pleasure. Yeah, I'll get more for the back. Unless, actually, he might sit all the way in the back. So let me stop for now and then. One thing I'm going to do really quick, and I know I already cleaned up, is I just exposed all of this blue, which I didn't mean to, but I tapped a little too hard. So there's nothing to say that I couldn't just leave it, but there's nothing to say that I can't just go ahead and fix it real quick. Okay, the other thing that I would like to do, and this is just an option, is I feel like I want to put more on his hands, just to give his hands like the feel that they're hands, like another dimension of hands, if that makes any sense. And hopefully it does. Remember, I turned my glue up to high, so keep that in mind. If you do that, don't go back to thinking you're on easy street with a low temp glue. Easy street. Now, I don't ever really end up using my little scissor. I actually use the tip of my big scissor. It seemed like that was enough. And then I just went ahead and created more holes. But I will tell you that there's big holes in this video on the back of his head that you can't see in person. So I don't know if it's just because it blends into the color or the light's catching it, or perhaps the camera's just better than my eyesight. The two that she made, I feel like one she put a bow tie on and one she put like a hair bow on. So let's see. I think I'm going to do a hair bow. I don't know. He kind of feels like he has a suit on now. So I'm thinking a bow tie would be super cute. And I am going to get his bow. Yep. It's a bow tie. And you really want to get a lot of hot glue in there. And the reason you want to do that is because you want the glue to go straight through to the bunny. Oh my God, he's so cute. He is so stinking cute. Oh my goodness. And again, we're going to put a ton of hot glue. This is high temp hot glue, so it stays hot for longer. And we're going to put him right here. Oh my God, he's so cute. And that's it, everybody. He's so cute. I can't take it. I can't wait for you guys to see tomorrow's as well. Don't forget to give Sarah Jane some love. I'm going to link a video in the description box down below. Like I said, if you recreate this, share it with me. Don't forget to share it with friends and family, anybody you know might be interested. I'm so enjoying doing this with you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you haven't yet clicked subscribe, do so. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video, and select all notifications so you know every night. And as always, you guys take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye.